Now, the issue is this. How do you deal with the bottleneck resources? The resources that are not in um, large supply, such as the raw materials, labor, machines, technology. They are not in abundant supply. So they are in limited quantity. So how do you use the limited ones to produce a very good or optimum unit or optimum product? It's like you having a little funds on you. How do you utilize the funds well to result or to yield a very good positive result? Yes. Someone will have a big fish, but the soup will not be nice. But they can give you just a little fish and your soup will be nice. That is the management accounting. Yes. So how are you going to use the little resources that you have to generate or to yield enough goods or to give you the best output, the maximum output? Yes, that's fine. So it means that it box onto a topic called optimum production plan. Optimum optimum production plan. Production plan. We normally call it production mix. It's also called production what? Mix. It means that what will be the quantities that I have to produce from the little resources that I have. That is the great. So our friend can't hear us, though we are solving it. Let's see, hoping that by the time we get to the inner part, it will be fine. So that's the production mix, optimal mix, production plan, or quantities of goods or products that must be produced to yield the maximum profit. So it's also called quantities. Quantities of what? Of products. The organization's product or units that must be produced in order to yield the maximum profits. How we get that? To yield the maximum profit. So in fact, it's very important one. Yes. In fact, that's the main topic in this throughput. If you don't understand anything, not what we are going to do today, then it's rather unfortunate that most of us are not on board. Yeah. So let's see. Now, if you want to produce, you know that your raw material cannot cater for all your demand. Maybe you are producing bamboo. Yes, let's go look at small. Bamboo and what? Gankinki. That's gankomi, eh? Gankinki. You know that the condo that you have, and you know your demand. Normally, 200 people, 200 bottles of bamboo. That's the demand. Versus kenke. Kenke, a lot of people like kenke. So kenke 300. That's your demand. And you yourself, you know for sure that the condo that you have there cannot cook 200 banku at the same time cooking 300 gakenke. It can't be possible. So what do? So it means that if you cook all gakenke, you won't get all the 200 banku that you're looking for. If you cook all the 200 banku, you won't get the 300 kenke. So what do? That's a challenge. So then throughput will help you to combine, cook small of banku, small of kenke, put them together, then you get your highest profit. So what will be kenke and banku that you have to prepare in order to what? Arrive or yield the highest profit? Because sometimes you cook all banku, you realize that you won't get the highest profit or highest return. Great. That's the topic for tonight. That's the topic for tonight. Just a continuation of where we ended last Tuesday. Good. So if you've not finished watching that video or going through, kindly pause this one and then go through. You'll be fine. Okay. There are steps, 5 steps. So I'll give you the 5 steps and then you go through, then you are fine. Anytime you hear the examiner asking you, determine the number of units or the number of products that need to be produced in order to maximize their profit, they are just asking you these 5 steps. And they are very important for all the questions. So I write them down. Then from there, we could pick our first question as usual. Then we do justice to it. Okay. Step 1, identify the limiting factor. That's the very first step. So step A, determine the optimum production plan. Steps in determine the optimum production plan. So the steps are: step 1, determine the limiting factor. Determine the limiting factor. Please, no shortcut in exams. Take note. Determine the limiting factor. 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 That's great. Then step 2. Step 2. Determine the throughput per limiting factor. Throughput per unit. Let's make throughput per unit. I don't move fast. Throughput per unit. So step 2, determine the throughput. Calculate your throughput per unit. Per unit. And step 3, calculate the throughput per limiting factor. So here is throughput per limiting factor. So that is step 3, throughput per limiting factor. And then you'll be fine. Throughput per limiting factor. And then you'll be fine. Great. Throughput per limiting factor. And then you'll be fine. Okay. Let's oh, that side of the board is not coming, so let's see. No, it's still going on. Okay, of course, This one check it's okay. Throughput per limiting factor. Then step 4, as usual, you rank them. So ranking. So you rank the throughput per limiting factor in higher of profits, in terms of profits. So you rank them in terms of the increasing in profit. The one that give you the highest profit first, the one that give you the second return in that order. So the very last one, then you are done. So that's the ranking. Yes, because you have to rank them. Check the each each condo that you use to prepare banku, how much are you getting from it? And each condo that you use to prepare the kenke, how much are you getting from it? So that you know if gakenke is giving you more return than banku, oh, then I'll produce the kenke and leave the banku. If banku is more profitable than the kenke, oh, then I'll use the banku in that order. So you see it right? Good. So that's why the ranking is very important. And then you'll be fine. Great. And step 5, and that's the last one. Then you allocate resources. Now that you know the rank, it will tell you which one to produce first. Or produce the bamboo first. If some of the condo remain, then use to produce the kenke. If there's still some remain, use to produce what? Your cocoa that you want to do. If there's still some, don't worry, use to prepare what? Fanti kenke, right? Do you have other tribe kenke? Asante kenke? Oh, we don't have it then. We don't have Asante kenke. No ewe kenke too. Eh. No ewe kenke. Ga kenke. Bimbila kenke. Konkoma kenke. What again? Okay, there are plenty. Just that you've not been there before. Eh. The popular ones is the ga kenke that you know. Yes. Eh. Okay. That is it. So the step 5 is you allocate resource. So allocation of resources. So allocation of resources. Is it coming? No, it's not coming. Let's come down. Great. So allocation of what? Resources and the optimum production plan. And the optimum, that's the final stage. Optimum production plan. For this last one, that one is not part of the steps, but it's not part, it's on its own. Determine the profit. Now calculate the maximum profit. Calculate the maximum what? Maximum profit. Yes, because we've asked you to tell us how many units that they should produce in order to what? Get the in order to get the maximum profit. So at the end of the day, we will ask you to tell us or to calculate the maximum profit that they will arrive at it. That's great. So these are the 6 steps. In fact, it ends at the step 5. The step 6 is on its own. Let them ask you before you do the step 6. That's great. So I'll pick the first illustration. And please, first illustrations are very technical or they are very good. So kindly be with us, especially for those who joined us recently, so that you get the whole picture. Good. Even if you get the steps correct, you are free to go. If you get the steps correct. Now let's see. So I'll pick our first question. Then we go through using the steps. So I'll do the step 1. I relax. Come to step 2, step 3. But from the second question going, I'll not relax again. I'll start the running. Hey, this question. Where's the throughput? I think that question you have it too. Yes. In that question you have it. Most of you have that question. Most of you have it. Not most of you, all of you have it because I sent it on the platform. I think this afternoon. Yeah, I sent it this afternoon. That's a throughput. And there was outstanding work. There was outstanding work that suggests that we should do the first throughput work. Yes. Hmm. The works are many. Throughput, yes, it's great. Okay. Hmm. Madam Florence, let me know if you can't still hear us. In fact, if she cannot hear, how can she respond? Unless I do sign up for you, but I believe strongly she can see what we are doing. Just that connectivity not going through. So the first question is your assignment. Please, this one I need four. Is it A4? What then do you call it? The full scrap sheet. No, the official paper. Yes, I need 4 pages. No, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 pages. So if you want to type it, I'll thank you. Meaning I need 5 pages for the first question, the question one. We are doing it. So the first page, you are explaining the concept and the theories of throughput accounting. And then you are telling me the B part, how throughput accounting is important in today's manufacturing environment. Then you tell me the key challenges, and then you suggest possible ways of resolving this challenge. For the remaining two, you've not done it. So by the time we finish today's edition, you'll be able to go through it. So I'll pick my first illustration. That's example or question number 4, 5. Question 4, 5. Okay, I'm doing question 4. I'm doing question 4. So question 4. Yeah. We are just going to use the steps. So picture as it is. When you come in exams, don't worry yourself. Exams, I can assure you that they will add a lot of stuff, a lot of words, a lot of stories to throw you away. But don't be discouraged. Just stick to your steps. I can show you one of the exam questions. Question 3 is an exam question, 25 marker. Look how they started talking plenty. All this, not important. Look how they started talking plenty to just get students disturbed. This is your 2018 November past question. It was going for 25 marks. Do it. Meanwhile, the main fact is there. What you need to solve the question is there. And they've added extra package. Just that students will forget the main one they need to solve the question and go and face the extra package, which are not needed. So the issue is you should be able to identify what are the items that do I need to solve the questions. So that's why we are practicing some. So kindly, for this particular topic, you don't need to worry because there are steps. You follow the steps, you are done. So let's read the question, the requirement. Choose the requirement first. Determine the quantities of each product that should be manufactured and sold each week to maximize profits and calculate the weekly profits. Okay. So anytime they ask you to determine the units, optimum production mix, advise the company the number of quantity that they should produce. All what you're looking for is what? the steps. Step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, up to step 5. If they add a profit to it like this question, then you add a step 6 to it. You are done. So now let's see how best we can do. So let's go to the question. In fact, in exams, what I normally do is this. Though, if you can get that one, very good. Right after reading the question, I go straight and solving it without reading the whole show or the preamble. Now that I know that you're asking me to determine the optimum mix, I'll just start. Optimum mix or the quantity of unit to be produced. I write it boldly on top and start. The limiting factor. Then I'll go and look for it if I can find it. If I don't able to find it, I'll move on to the next one. Throughput per unit. Okay, I can do that one. If I cannot find that one too, I'll move on to the next step. So even if I cannot do step 1, that doesn't mean that I will not do step 2 and 3. Or something that I should like present. So take note. Now let's see. But for teaching and teaching purposes, I will go through them systematic order because we are startup. When you are solving the next question, then we do that. So the question reads, just-in-time manufacture 4 products, A, B, C, and D. Details of sales price, cost, and resources requirement for each of the products as follows. Products, they are the A, B, C, and C, all of them. Sales price, you can see them there. Material cost, they are there. Direct labor cost, they are there. Machine time, it means that if they want to produce each unit of A, they need machine time of what? 5 minutes, 2 minutes for that of B, 3 minutes for C, and then 6 minutes for D. Labor time is also there. So it means that one of these will be the limiting factor. Good. Weekly sales demand is 2,000, 2,000, 2,500, and 1,005 respectively for that of product A, B, and C, D. Good. Now, the first footnote, it says that machine time is the bottleneck resource. That's very good. So the examiner have identified the bottleneck or the limiting factor for us already in the question. But I can assure you that your examiner will not do that. But this question is a beginner question. So you have to like feed you with some of the items. So as time goes on, we'll be calculating it by ourselves. Good. So machine time is a bottleneck resource and the maximum capacity is what? 400 machine hours each week. Operating costs include direct labor. Operating costs include direct labor costs. We said that in throughput, labor cost is what? Is fixed. And we mentioned something yesterday. Not yesterday. That was Tuesday. Great. We said that in throughput, labor cost is fixed. So the labor cost form part of the fixed cost. So therefore, the fixed cost is equal to, is the same as the operating cost, is the same as the factory cost. Fixed cost, operating cost, factory cost, the same. Or is the same as total cost except material. Total cost minus what? Material cost. Good. So total cost less the material cost. So anywhere in exams, they are giving you the fixed cost or the operating cost in a question. Make sure that it includes labor. If not, please calculate it and add it. The operating cost, let me repeat, the first theory or the first assumption of throughput, labor cost is fixed. So it means that your fixed cost must include labor. So in exams, if the examiner have given you the operating cost and labor, you were told that labor is not part, what do? Add labor to it. Calculate your labor cost and add it. So take notes. A good examiner will tell you the stand. So here they are saying operating costs including direct labor cost. That's a good examiner. They've added labor cost to it. So there's no need for us to worry ourselves with the labor cost, calculating it and adding it again. Now let's continue. It said $5,440 each week. I supposed to see this. Direct labor costs are 12 cedis per hour, and direct labor workers are paid for 38-hour week with no overtime. All these facts are not needed. Is to attract students who will calculate for us, because if you calculate it, it's already included, so there's no need for it. However, if they're supposed to say operating costs excluding direct labor costs, that is where you have to calculate that labor cost, and what do? Add it to operating cost and get a full operating cost. Because they've already added it, there's no need for me to worry myself on labor cost again. And you see students worrying themselves calculating it because they've given it to me. Please, overflow information is allowed. Just a matter of you opening your eyes wide as 360, picking the one that requires to answer the question. Great. So now we are done reading the question. Let's go to the step. So determine the quantities. So first of all, determination of the quantities to be produced. That will be the heading. But where the camera is, I don't like it at all. Good. Should be clear enough. So the heading will be determination of the quantity to be produced, or you can just name it production mix. Production what? Mix. Don't forget the steps to the production mix. So production mix. Production mix. So you see production mix. Great. So that's A. Production what? Mix. Underline it. So step. For this question, I'll use the steps. So step 1. What is there? You can tell me step 1. Step 1.
You determine the limiting factor.
Determine the limiting factor. So I read boldly on top. Limiting factor. Limiting factor. Now, what is the limiting factor? Have they given it to us, or we have to find it by ourselves?
It was in the question.
Great, it was in the question, so it was given. Now let's go and see. In fact, now they say machine time is a limiting factor or bottleneck resource with a maximum capacity of what? 400 machine hours. So this is what you have to do. So you write machine time is the limiting factor. The limiting factor with a maximum hours of 400. You are done. Full stop. Step 1 is gone. Or in simple case, you can just write limiting factor equal to machine time. Maximum available 400. You are also correct. You are done. Yes. Great. What's the step 2? Step 2. Step 2. So step 2. Step 2. I think the board is not.
You determine
on my screen. Determine the throughput per unit, right?
Yes.
Good. So I write on bold on top. Throughput per unit. Throughput per unit. So I'll list the product here: A, B, C, and D. And I'll start. How do I calculate throughput per unit? Any idea? Throughput means sales minus what? Material cost. So what I have to do is tell the examiner that sales, so what the selling price, So selling price and then the material cost, you are done. So, and now we know the composition of material cost. We know the composition of material cost because the last time or last two November 2018 paper that the examiner set or the question the examiner brought, he tested them on material. So they give them a lot of materials for them to add and get the total material cost per unit. If you are lucky to, they'll just give you one. So she take note. Now let's go to the question and then bring the issues out. The material costs are the selling price, that's 1.4, right? So 1.4. What about B? B, selling price for B.
0.80.
Good. And then that's of C.
1.20.
Good. And then D.
2.80.
Okay. Then the material cost. 0.6. And then 0.3.
Yes.
0. And then
0.6.
0.6. And then 1 and okay. Sorry. So what we do is we list them like this and kindly put them in a bracket. Why? Because we are subtracting. And align it like this. Then start your throughput. Your throughput. So what's the throughput per unit here? Throughput per unit. Per unit. So over here will be 0.80, right? Yes, 0.50. Yes, 0.60, 1.8. Agreed. That is the throughput per unit. That's the step 2. How we get it? So even if you go and the question is plenty, they are telling you stories. You can do these ones and leave the rest for him. They have the full day to solve the question. You have only 3 hours. Just 15 to 30 minutes to solve that question. So not everything in a question that you follow. The one that you need to solve, the requirement. That's why you have to read the requirement first to know. Do not assume any question for yourself. The only assumption that you have to assume is the one that's stated in books or the one that we are learning, like the assumptions and the throughput. That one you have to assume. Assumption and throughput. But your personal assumptions are forbidden unless stated in the question. Other than that, you state your own question and you answer them in the exam tomorrow. Good.
So if I may ask, looking at the first question, it says we should identify determine the limiting factor. And we're able to detect that the limiting factor will be found in the second case study below it. So is it that always the actual points that you're supposed to get will be found in the
Yes.
data given below?
Some of the items that you need will be there in case study, but in most cases, the limiting factor you have to calculate it yourself. So the second question that we will solve, we will calculate the limiting factor ourselves. It will not be given to us as free. Now let's see. They gave us 2 resources: machine time and labor time. One of them must be a limiting factor. So on what basis do you determine that machine time is limiting or labor? If the question is silent about it, you have to perform your calculation to know which of these. And the examiner have done it already and if inform you that the machine time is limiting one factor. Don't need to worry yourself and do those calculations. Move on and then if you do those calculations, we will mark it for you. So assuming that that statement wasn't there, machine time is limiting factor, then we have to calculate it by ourselves and then generate it. So that is it. Now let's continue the game. What's the step 3? Step 3.
Determine the throughput per limiting factor.
Good. So determine the throughput per limiting factor. So step 3. So I'm going by step. Step 3. Throughput per limiting factor. So throughput per limiting factor. Now throughput per limiting factor, how do you get it? Bring your throughput. Throughput per unit. You already have it here. 0.8, 0.50, 0.60, and then 0.180. Then bring the limiting factor per unit. Limiting factor per unit. Limiting factor per unit. What is the limiting factor per unit? Now, which of the resources was the limiting factor? It was machine time, right? So let's go and look for the machine time per unit for all these products. So if they want to produce a unit of A, how many machine time do they have to keep in? How many machine time? That of B, C, and D. That's the limiting factor per unit. So from the question, the machine time. So 5 minutes for product A, right? 5 minutes for product A, 2 minutes for product B. So 5, 2, 3, 6, right? That's perfect. 5, 2, 3, 6. 5, 2, 3, 6. 5, 2, 3, 6. That's perfect. Okay. Then what do you do? So let's bend it down small. Good. Then we'll calculate the throughput per limiting factor. So throughput per limiting factor now be what? Throughput per limiting factor per. So divide. So this divided by this. This divided by this. So throughput per limiting factor. So therefore 0.8 divided by 4. So 0.8 divided by 5 and not 4. Sorry. That's 0.16. Now there's an issue. Let me explain it before I move on. You realize that in the question, these limiting factors or this machine time are in minutes. All of them are in minutes. However, the maximum available, the capacity, were given to us in hours, right? It was 400 machine hours. Make sure that all of them are converted to one unit or one denomination. If you're working with hours, work with hours. If you're working with minutes, work with minutes. But usually we follow the rule that states that the majority what carries the vote. So the one that appears most, minutes are many. Almost 1, 2, 3 are many. They are many than what? Or they are more than the 400 hours. Like it's only one, right? So it means that we can maintain the minutes. So now this 400 must be converted to minutes. Anywhere you write it, convert it to what? To minutes. Or else you'll be forced to convert the minutes rather into hours. And if you divide 5 by 60, the answer that you get, you won't like it in exams. If you divide 2 by 60, the answer you may not like it. If you divide 3 by 60, you may not like the answer. And 6 divided by 60. Some of you are allergic to decimals or points. When they see point, especially if you divide, you get like 0.33333. They thought they are wrong. They are correct too. So we maintain the minutes over here and convert these hours to what? To minutes. So that is it. So it means that 400 hours that we quoted here, we have to in fact make it times 60 minutes, right? Into bracket 24,000 minutes. Agree? So that these ones are in minutes. So these are in minutes, so that it will tally. Great. Now, so here will be, in fact, I'll write a full version, but the subsequent questions I will not write a full version. It's Ghana city of 0.16 per minute. And here is what? 0. Ghana city of 25 per what? Minutes. And here will be what? Ghana city of 0.2 per what? Minute. And here will be 0.3 per minute. Now, this is the interpretation. Each minute that you spend, each minute from where? From machine time. Each minute from machine time, you are getting 16 pesos from that of for product A. You are getting 25 pesos and 20 pesos and then that of 30 pesos. So that is the third step. What is the fourth step? Step 4, what do?
You rank them.
You rank them. Great. So rank. So step 4. Step 4. So I'll put here ranking. So let's rank them. So which of these will come first? If you are ranking them. Which of these will come first? Madam Sandy. Which of these will come first? If you can hear me. Which of these should be ranked first? Is the second one. I don't know the second one though. 0.25. Okay. Someone is saying 0.25.
0.30.
There's 0.30 here. And then this one is 0.20. So 30 pesos, 20 pesos, 25 pesos, 16 pesos. Which of these is the highest one? The 30 pesos. So this one will be first. So you just write first. Yeah. Oh, it didn't come.
Please, you're not seeing the board.
Okay. Sorry. So first, which one will score second?
25 pesos.
25 pesos. So second. So second will be somewhere here. Then which one will score third?
20 pesos.
20 pesos. So third. Please, that third that you raise it up. Take note that it's a computer writing, not human being handwriting. And then obviously the last person score fourth, right?
Yes.
So you write your fourth here. Then this is the meaning. Produce in this sequence, in this order. First, use all your capacity or use all your capacity. Use all your resources that you have, the limited one, to produce what? To produce the first. That's the gakenke. First. If there's some remain, some of the resources still there, then followed by what? Could that be? Then if there's still some there, what do? Followed by product what? C. And lastly, whatever remain, use the remainder to produce what? Product A. That's the meaning, and that's the interpretation. I hope you get that. Great. So that is it.
So,
So, yeah.
so Yeah, so in exam condition, they will require you do the explanation or after, when you get here, that's all.
No, examiners don't need explanation. They will tell you determine the unit. So you just
Okay.
go through this process. Step one.
Okay.
In fact, for exam question, after that, I'll combine all of them together. I won't show the steps. It will become very simple because this one, the whole thing, plus what I'm going to do is for 5 marks. They can't score you more than 5 marks. No, if they do that, I'll come and take it and give you 5. Great. So, the next question that I'll pick, I'll solve it under exam condition. That one, you won't see the steps inside. The step will not come clear. The step will be what? Inherit, or it will be implied. Okay, first, I have to do this. Okay, second, let me do it. Third, so I'll do it without naming them. So you won't see this one in it. You realize that this one was repeated here. Exams, I will not do that. This one was repeated here. I will not do that. But here I have to walk you through step by step for you to get it first before I do that.
Okay.
Now what's the next step? Step 4. Step 5, man. 5. We did step 4 here. Good. So step 5.
You allocate the resource.
Allocate what? Resource, and then the optimum production plan. I'll claim the step 1 and do it there. But please, what is the total limiting factor? Who can tell me? Total limiting factor. Total limiting.
24,000 minutes.
Thank you. 24,000 minutes.
Yes.
Even though they stated 400 hours, but we like it in minutes. Have you seen it? In fact, your exam questions are technical. So if you don't open your eyes wide, like some of the issues, you may just vision it. Have you seen first? You wrote 400 here, right? And you're writing 5. If you go again, it means that either one of these might be marked wrong for you. Yes. First, we wrote 400 over here. 400, meaning 400 hours. And then we wrote 5 minutes, 2 minutes here. Meanwhile, it's all of them supposed to be at the same what? The same unit. So it's time. So here, before we converted to what? 2 minutes to correspond with this one. These are the issues, small issues. This one, it does not, you don't have any topic in management accounting that will teach you how to convert minutes to hours or hours to minutes. Kilogram to kg, centimeters, please. Those units and volume measurement, please. One of the ACC examiner did something like that. He wrote millimeters versus meters, and it created an issue. People didn't see it because how he wrote it, something like this, centimeters, meters, and then he write it something like this. So people thought they are the same, meters and millimeters, not knowing you have to convert one to the other. So take note of this small issue. They are not in management accounting, but when it comes to certain questions on that, examiners like it. Why? Because something that is not in the syllabus, but the student must know before he can answer this question. Oh, we like it. That one there, I will inform you. Now let's go to the step 5 quickly. Step 5. Step number what? 5. Step number 5. Step 5. I'll do the step 5 here. Will you go there? Okay, I'll take this section also off. Where you've copied it, right? Okay, let me take this section also off. To be holding this. I thought the class will have to come and then how do you call it? Link, is it car battery? Or night battery come and then tidy the board. Have you done something before? Yes. Hey, no. Board is not clear. Great. Let's continue the game. Yes. Now about this clear. So step 5. Step 5. Uh, Step 5. Step 5. That is the optimum production plan. Optimum production plan. Then we are done. Optimum production plan. Optimum production plan. I think it's dry now. Yeah. Guess it's dry. So step 5. Allocation of resources, right? Let's start it again. Allocation of resources and optimum production plan. Please, here, this is how I want the table. This is how I want the table, both here in exams. It's a nice table that you have to probably, you start with the rank. First, you write here rank because you are going to allocate, you're going to demarcate or allocate the resources according to the rank. Yes, and then the name of the product. So the name of the product. Then the units. Then the units. The units. Then here is limiting factor per unit, LF per unit. And here is the total limiting factors. Then you are done. This thing must be with you. Yes. This thing must be with you. As stated somewhere in the Bible. Okay, so the first product, you do it. Second product, you do it. Third product, in fact, you do add to the last one, of course. You're going to the fourth product. So the fourth product will come. Good. So obviously now the table will look like. Great. Let's see. Then who scored first according to the ranking? The first one was the product D, right? So D scored first. Who scored second? Second.
Product B.
Product B. Who scored third?
Product C.
It's not for now. Sorry. Wait. Hey, it's not coming though. Oh, it's not coming. Okay. So the third product is C, right? And then A scored last. So have you seen how you name it nicely? Then you start. What is the demand for product D? It will be in a question. So let's go to the question. Let's go and pick the maximum demand, please. Here we are selecting what? The maximum demand. It's a weekly sales demand. So product D, what is the weekly sales demand for product D? It's 1,500. According to the rank, we have to produce all these 1,500 first with the machine time that we have. If there were extra machine time, then we think of the other products. How we get it? Great. So you are going to produce this guy first. 1,500 for D. So let's go and put it down. 1,005. So I'll put 1,005 here. Perfect. Then what's the limiting factor per unit? These ones, you know them already. You've selected them. That was what we used to calculate the throughput per limiting factor.
It's also always the unit is the sales, weekly sales demand. Depending
Yes, it's a weekly sales demand, except for the last one. Except for the last one. Like, look at how we select the last one. So, and then you'll be fine. So, what's the limiting factor per unit for that of product D? We've already recorded it. That's what we use to calculate the throughput per limiting factor. So, the time, let's see. Yeah, here. I want to show them here. So limiting factor per unit, 5 for A, 2 for B, 3 for C, and then 6 for that of product D. So product D will be all 6. Yeah.
please, the thing that kind of confusing. Is that the limiting factor for
The limiting factor per unit
per unit?
for the product. Now the question is, what is the limiting factor here? What's the limiting factor?
So it's machine.
Machine. So what's the machine time per unit?
Okay.
Now, if you know that machine time is a limiting factor, you can ignore the term limiting factor and call it machine time. You are also correct. So now that you know that machine time is a limiting factor, or you can call it throughput per machine time. That's throughput per limiting factor. Okay, machine time per unit. That's the true limiting factor per unit. How we get it? Great. So once you identify it, that's what you're supposed to use. Good. Now, so what's the A6? That's the machine time per D. 6 minutes, right? Good. It's in minutes. So we can even tell the examiner that we are working in minutes. We are working in what? Minutes. We can tell the examiner here that we are working in minutes. Yes. So if each unit I need 6 minutes and then I'm going to produce 1,005, how many minutes will I consume in total? So in total I'll consume what? 250. I'll disagree. 250.
9,000.
9,000. Good. If a unit, I need 6 minutes. If you want to solve this question, you're supposed to take 6 minutes, and I've asked you to solve it 1,500 times. How many minutes are you going to use? Well, you multiply, right? Yes. If you produce one, if you produce 1 unit, you need 6 minutes. Now you are producing 1,005. How many minutes are you going to use? Good. So each one I need 6. I'm going to produce 1,005. So in total, I'll spend 1,005 by 6, giving us what? 9,000 minutes. All the same. As when you are going there, look, then you are comparing the total limiting factor. What's the total limiting factor? Perfect. So the total is 24,000. Now it is 24. As when you are going, we are watching the limiting factor, because you cannot produce more than the 24,000 minutes. That's what you have. Now we've selected, or if we've allocated 9,000 to what? D. So we still have more to go for the next one, right? If assuming that this figure is more than 24, we will stop. We won't produce. We produce that number. Great. Now let's see what will happen. Watch carefully how I will do the fourth one. Can you watch carefully? That's where the trick is. Okay, now let's move on. For product B, what's the demand for product B? Let's go and see product B, the demand. Madam Sandra, please put that B, the demand.
It's 2,000.
Perfect, 2,000. And then the limiting factor per unit.
The limiting factor, I think, is 2.
2 minutes. Great. Perfect. So 2002. Hey, so 2002. So that's this question is potential question for 2002. So 2002. That's when I came 2002. What will be the total minutes consumed? 4,000. It means that you're going to allocate 4,000 out of the 24. All of them coming from the 24. Already, if you use 9,000 to produce D, if you use what? 4,000 to produce B. So left with that much. Okay, let's go. There are still more, right? Now let's see. Okay, Madam Grace, tell me the third product, C. Tell me the demand and tell me the limiting factor. Hello.
2,500.
And the limiting factor per unit.
Is 3.
Good. So 2,503. So 2,503. Perfect. Okay, so in total, what do you think will be 7,500? Perfect. Now, when you're about to get to the hello, you have a question. Hello. Any question, friends online? Okay, great. No question. Now, when you're about to go to the last one, just relax. You realize that we only have 24,000 minutes. How many minutes have we spent so far? You have to get that one and then get the balance. Always the last one will take the balance because we cannot produce all. The last guy will take the balance. So the last guy always find the difference and put it here. You are done. It's 3,500, right? That's the balance because 9,000 plus 4,000, that's 13,000. Plus 7,500, that's 20,500. And I have 24,000. So therefore, let me do what? 3,500. Look at how you're going to work. This one, we call it work back. We have to work from the back. So we have to produce from this way. Now, what is the limiting factor per unit for that of that product? Product what? A, right? So let's go to the question. Now, Godfred, what's the limiting factor per unit for product A?
It's 5. 5 minutes.
5 minutes. Great. So I'll put a 5 minutes here. Now look at this. This is a question. Now, if I want to produce a unit, I need 5 minutes. Now I have 3,500 there. How many can this produce? Tell me. I mean, it's not like the same as what we started from. Perfect. So it can produce only 700 units. So we write 700 here nicely. 700. So we are done. So therefore, the demand or the optimum mix or the production plan is this. These are the production plan. Here. So the advice that we are going to tell them, they should produce the following quantities of the products. So the production plan must be, so production what? Plan. So what the quantities that they should produce, we are now going to list them down. So you start with A, B, C, and then D. A, they should produce what? Madam Sandra.
Yes.
A, they should produce what?
3,500.
3,500. I like that. 3,500. 3,500. 3,500. Okay, in fact, I'll take it. Just that the 3,500 is total limiting factor. That one is minutes. These ones are minutes that they need to use. These ones are actual units. So they have to produce what? Product A is cost 700. So you have to produce what? 700. Agreed. Agreed. Hello, Madam Sandra.
Yeah, hello. Yes,
Agreed.
agreed.
Good. What about product B? What will be the production unit?
2,000.
Perfect. So now they should produce 2,000. Product C.
2,500.
And then product D,
1,500.
1,500. Perfect. So it means that some of the products or one of the products was not, they weren't able to produce all of them, right? That's the A. The demand for A is around 2,000. Yes, demand for A is 2,000. But if they produce all the 2,000, they will not achieve the highest profit or the maximum profit. So now they are producing only 700. Why? Because the machine time will not permit them to produce all the 2,000. They don't have enough machine time. Yes. So that is it. So that is the first part of the question. Please, if you leave the answer in the table like this, if I'm the one marking, I won't give you the full mark. Don't tell me that I'm wicked. No. I ask you to determine the quantities of unit to be produced, and you are drawing table for me. I should fish them out then. When they are done, you have to come and list them down here for me that these are the quantity that they should produce. Something like this. Hey, they should produce this in that order. In fact, you can even add unit to it. You have to even add unit. Find somewhere and add unit to it. Yes. Add unit. Because if you add 700, I'll just add mango to it or tomato. Meaning you are doing tomatoes. Good. So take note. Now let's go and calculate what the profits. It can also ask you what's the profits. What is the highest profit? Now let me ask this question. Hey, the person that was about to ask the question has run away. This is the fifth time.
So is it the optimal of the production plan?
It can be called production plan, optimal mix, quantity to be produced. All of them are the same. Grace is gone. I wanted to ask a question. Okay. Now if Grace is gone, then let me ask Sandra. Sandra was not here last week. Okay, then let me ask about Godfrey. How do you find profits when you're using marginal costing? And how do you find profits when you're using absorption costing? Then you bring it here to that of what throughput. How do you find profit? Because you're going to find the weekly profit. That's the next question they'll ask you. Right after determine the number of units they must produce, we have to what? Go ahead and tell them the profit, the maximum profit. But please, that one, let them ask you first. So for this question, it was asked. Let's see if it's true. A, determine the quantities of each product that should be manufactured and sold each week to maximize profit. And, pregnant question. And calculate the weekly profit. So now we are done with the quantities of each product that should be manufactured. So here, this one, what we've done here is a quantity to be manufactured. Quantity to manufacture. Please don't go and list all these quantities for the examiner, because you realize that only A change, right? So all the trouble that we pass through is only A. So then you can, someone can say, okay, for me, I'll gamble with the examiner. Assuming that I have not done anything, I can't do all. What I'll do is I write all of them again. I'll copy the demand for them. At least I get two of them correct, one of them wrong. Something like that. Great. So now let's go and calculate the profit. So I will take this section off to calculate the profit, the weekly profit. So weekly profit, the heading is very important. The duster is making the board dirty. The duster is making the board dirty. The weekly profit, great. So weekly profit. Weekly profit. Hey, everyone is gone. Level Sandra. Okay. This one there's one-to-one mapping. If you want to determine the profit, all what you have to do is bring your Ghana cedi. Then under the throughput, profit is equal to total throughput, or throughput minus what? The factory cost, which is same as the fixed cost, which is same as what? Operating cost. You are done. So under throughput, the profit is equal to what? The total throughput minus what? Minus the operating cost. Great. So that is it. So that's the star that we are going to use here. So let's see our best. We can go through this successfully. Okay, so let's start with the throughput. Let's calculate the throughput. Now we know the throughput per unit, right? So you open your bracket like this and you start A. For product A, what's the demand? They should produce 700, right? Times the throughput per unit. What's the throughput per unit for product A?
Throughput per unit
For product A
0.8.
is 0.8, so times the 700. Now, we said that they should produce 700. So now if they produce 700, what will be the total throughput? So here we are not going to use the demand in the question. Demand given to us in the question. No, that's not what we are going to use. Good. So that will give us 560 Ghana cedis. Then let's see. Let's go to B. B, they are producing what? 2,000, right? What's the throughput per unit for B?
0.5.
So 0.5. So half of 2,000 is what? 1,000, right? Great. Then what about C? What's the demand? How much are they producing? They are producing 2,500, right? And what's the throughput?
0.8.
Throughput is 0.6, right? Great. So 0.6, and that'll give us 1,500. Now finally, the D. They are producing what? 1,005. And what's the throughput per unit? 1.8. So that'll give us 2,700. Perfect. Put all together, what do you get to be the total throughput? Then you are done. So what's the total throughput?
5,760.
So 5,760. So therefore, less what? Less the operating cost. What is operating cost? This is the total throughput. So operating cost given to us, and it must include what? Labor. The operating cost must include what? Labor. So let's see. They said operating cost including direct labor cost is 5,440. Perfect. So 5,440. So what's the net profit? What would be the net profit? So the net profit 224, I disagree. The net profit, Madam Sandra, what would be the net profit? The net profit. Did you say?
I'm not with my calculator.
Okay.
320.
320, perfect. I think that 320. So that's the profit. So this is the maximum profit. If you like, at your own spare time, change the demand pattern. If you change any of these figures, you change the profits. But make sure that they don't produce more than the 24,000. So you can also start. What if they are producing all of A, and then with the remaining one, wherever they get to, they are done. It will change the profit. The profit will not be 220, be lesser than 320. Yes. This will be the highest profit, the maximum profit that they can generate. So that's the first stage of throughput. Left the last stage, then we are down the throughput accounting. So get it for me, and then you'll be fine. The remaining 30 minutes out of us, I'm using it to complete the throughput the latter part of throughput, so that I know that I'm done with throughput. So that next time when you are picking question, you can answer question fully. Everything about throughput, you are done. Please, your exam question will not be straightforward like this, not at all. But it's for the same format, the same issues. So that is it. Great. Okay. Okay. Let me know when you are done so that we will continue. Of throughput, the last aspect of throughput. It's what you mean by throughput accounting ratio. It's very important. Throughput. Throughput accounting ratio. Hey, accounting ratio pan. We shortcut and call it TPAR. TPAR. Throughput accounting ratio. Throughput accounting ratio. Throughput accounting ratio. Now, when you mention ratio, what's the meaning of ratio? The word ratio. The word ratio means you are dividing number by number. Ratio of Kojo's age to that of Ahmed's age. Kojo's age divided by what? You are done. That's the meaning of ratio. What about throughput accounting? Now, this ratio is a measure that we use to measure the profitability of the individual products. So to assess the profitability of the individual products, we have to use what? Throughput accounting ratio. That's the TPAR. So throughput accounting ratio, you realize that this company, just on time, they produce how many products? 4. So if you produce 4 products and you want to assess the level of the profitability of the products, how do you assess? Which of the products I should stop producing? Which of the products I should produce? I produced 4 products, or I ran 3 classes. Which of them should I stop? Which of them should I continue? I have to calculate the throughput accounting ratio for all of them, and then some of them will indicate a lower level, and then you stop producing those ones. So in short, throughput accounting ratio is a ratio, a measure that we use to assess the level of profitability of the individual products. So if you want to assess the profitability of the individual products, use what? Throughput accounting ratio. Now the issue is, how do you calculate it? So I'll give you the formula. It's a formula work, or yes.
This is a measure used to assess what level? The level of
Assess the level of profitability of each product or the individual product. The level of what? Profitability. Or we to assess the profit level of the individual product. For instance, the question we just solved, the company produced A, B, and C. A, B, C, and D. So if I want to know which of the products should I stop producing, which of the products should continue producing, even though we have the rank stated that first, second, third, and then fourth. The rank will tell me the sequence of the production. It does not tell me which of the product is profitable. It just tells me that if I want to produce, I should produce it in this order. It didn't tell me the actual profitability level of these products, so that I'll go ahead and then stop. It didn't tell me, okay, if I produce first, second, third, I should stop the fourth one. No, it didn't say that. I'll be getting it. Good. Now let's see. So throughput accounting ratio is a formula work, and I'll give you 3 steps. 3 steps. Here's the formula. Okay, I'll give you the formula in the step 3. So step 1, to determine the throughput accounting ratio, Step 1. Calculate throughput per limiting factor. Throughput per what? And you know it, right? We've done it already. Okay, so it means that about 30% of the work is done, or 40%. Step 2. Calculate the factory costs or the operating costs. Operating costs, which is the same as what? Factory cost or fixed cost per limiting factor. So calculate the operating cost per limiting factor. Operating cost and what? Limiting factor. That's the step 2. It can also be found in the question. This one that you don't know, so let me give you the formula. It's equal to the total operating cost, operating cost divided by the total limiting factor. This one you know the formula already. It's the throughput per unit divided by the limiting factor per unit. So that is it.
Please, the camera.
Machine. Yeah. It's off, eh?
No,
Okay.
it's not showing.
Great. So the total operating cost divided by the total limiting factors. So for this question, if I should show working and calculate for it, then it should be something like, what's the total operating cost? It's a 5440, right? Including direct labor cost. It was Ghana cedis divided by total limiting factor of 24,000 minutes. I'm done. Have you seen? Is it difficult?
Yes.
Not at all. That is it. So that's the step 2. That's the step 2. So we will calculate this. So that's the step 2. 3 step. Step 3. Step 3. Now you find the actual show. You calculate the total, the throughput accounting ratio. So step 3, calculate the throughput accounting ratio. What's the formula? It's a step 1 divided by step 2. So let me write the formula here nicely. Throughput accounting ratio. The formula is equal to throughput per limiting factor, or divided by operating cost or factory cost per limiting factor. Factory cost per limiting factor. You are done.
So, and then the throughput per limiting factor. Looking at the step 3, if the products are in ABC, how can you generate a whole?
No, we have for individual, all of them. We calculate for all of them. So it's different. Just that the step 2 is the same for all of them. This one is for individual. You get it for individual products, but the operating cost or the factory cost per limiting factor is just one calculation, but it's the same for all of them. After getting one figure, it's the same, but the first one is not the same for them. Great. Now the throughput is also called return. Throughput can also be called return. So you can also call it return per limiting factor or return per factory R. All of them are the same. Please, here I'll give a work. I'll give you homework here. Then you try it for me. For those of you who try it, they will smile. Yes. They will smile. Yes. They will smile. Like how someone smiled in the exam room and still smiling. Yes. Okay, now let's see. Now let's see if you can calculate for that of this question. So you are going to calculate the throughput accounting ratio for this question. And then the answers that you are going to get. The answers you are going to get, they need to be interpreted because ratios must be what? Analyzed or interpreted or explained. The answers can be in 3 folds. 1, less than 1. You can get the answer. So the answers are the final outcome. It can be less than 1, greater than 1, or equal to 1. So these are the possible answers that you get. If you get any answer other than this, recalculate it again and be sure that the calculator is yours. So if you get less than 1, or you can get what? Equal to 1. Equal to 1 or greater than what? 1. These are the possible answers that you are likely to result. So if it's less than 1, that means the product, the factory cost or the operating cost is more than the revenue generated from that product, and hence that product is what? Unprofitable. If it is less than 1, what's the meaning? It means that the operating costs of that product is more greater than the returns, which is the throughput or the revenue, greater than the returns. Hey, this board there. I don't know why the camera is keep on resuming by itself. So if the answer that you get is less than 1, then the interpretation will be like this. The interpretation will be like this. The operating costs is what? Greater than the return that you are getting. And if the operating cost is more than the return, oh, then don't even worry yourself to produce it. How can the operating cost be more than the return that you are getting? Are you an NGO or you are school? No. Even schools, some of them are making big profits. So that is it. Operating cost is less than 10, and then hence the product is what? Not profitable. If it is equal to 1, break even. Operating cost is exact the same as what? The returns. So the operating cost is the same as the return that you are getting. So you are breaking what? Evening. No loss, no profits. If it is greater than 1, that's good news. That means the return are more than the operating cost, and hence that product is what? Profitable. Perfect. Perfect. So this is the answer. Now, if the answer that you get is less than 1, if the answer is what? Less than 1, then it means that it will lead us to the next topic called ways of increasing throughput accounting ratio. Then you have to analyze and come out with critical solutions. My throughput accounting ratio for this particular product is poor. It's below 1. What should I do so that I can increase it? So that's the ways of increasing throughput. I'll do that one after we solve this question, and that's the last topic under the throughput accounting ratio. Then we are done. For 10 marks, qualify you for 10 marks or 15. It ranges from 5 up to 10 marks. So let's solve this question by calculating the throughput accounting ratio, and then we will interpret it, and then we will find ways of increasing those that have less than 1. So we are solving for this question. So as usual, if you want to get a throughput accounting ratio, bring 2 items together. So throughput accounting ratio. No shortcut in exams. If the examiner shortcut it, you can also shortcut it. Throughput accounting ratio. Throughput accounting ratio. So we write the product here A, B, C, and then D. Because we've already calculated the throughput per limiting factor, I'll just record them here. Throughput per what? We've already calculated it. And what was the answer? And it was in minutes. So it's Ghana city of 0.16 per minute. Here was Ghana city of what? 0.6 per minute, right? And no, we are just bringing it here. Yeah, the answer is here.
My first one was 0.16 minutes. Second one was 0.25.
0.25
minutes.
Sorry, 0.25 per minute. Hey, sorry. Okay. Friends online. Sorry. 0.20
per minute.
So 0.20. In fact, all of them are in minutes. So I don't do writing this on plenty. So what I can do is I can take insurance. Let me take insurance here. Alright, 2 put per limiting factor into bracket CD per minute. Everything. Yes, that means branch all of them. Here's 0.6. Here's 0.25. Here's 0.2, and here's 0.30. I'm done. That was the throughput per limiting factor. 0.16. Good. Then you go to operating cost or factory cost per limiting factor. Factory cost per limiting factor. That one to CD per what minutes. How do you do the calculation? Relax. Open your brackets. What's the total factory cost? 5440. What's the total limiting factors? 24,000. So therefore, what do you get? To 2 decimal places. 0 something
2.28.
0.228 or 22328.
2.268, so 2.27.
0.23
No, 2.
2 point.
No, I made a mistake with the calculation.
Yeah. Okay, so it's 0.23.
Yes.
23. And then 0.23. And then 0.23. Okay, so what is the throughput per limiting factor? Or throughput accounting ratio? Yes. Throughput accounting ratio. We said that you divide step 1, step 2, step 3. You are done, right? So throughput accounting ratio is nothing by the throughput per limiting factor, which is 0.16 divided by this. And that gives us 0.69. No running. Okay, that's fine. What about the second one? B. 1 point something, 1 point something.
1.08.
1.08. Good. What about C? 0 point something,
0.86 or 87.
87. And the last one, 1.13.
Yeah, 1.13.
Great.
1.3.
It's 1.3. Okay. Great. So have you seen this? Some of the answers are more than one. Some ones are more than what? Less than one. Please, if you calculate you are getting like 5,000, be careful. Something like 500, something like 50, something like 100, in thousands, just be careful.
That's right.
Because the answer will be around 1 com. But you can get like 20, you can get like 10, 6, even that one can recalculate again. If you get like more than from 2 going, recalculate again and be sure. From 2, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 are going, no, like live figures. Recalculate them again because we expect the answer to be between 1, below 1 and above 1 or equal to 1. So if you're getting like 5,000, like it's more than 5, more than 1. So just recalculate again and be sure. Now, interpret the answers for me. So tell me, you pick each of the products. So product A have a throughput account ratio of this. So therefore, perfect. So
it's not profitable.
Good. It's not profitable. So it means that the
We can't
product.
hear him. We can't hear what
Okay,
he's saying.
it's true. Yes, he's saying that for product A, the throughput accounting ratio is less than 1, which means that the operating cost is what? More than the revenue or the
Okay.
returns.
Okay.
What is the return? The return is the throughput. So you can also say that the operating cost is greater than the throughput. Throughput is the return, is the revenue. Throughput is the return and is the revenue. Good. So the operating cost is more than the return, and hence the product is what? Not profitable. How we get it?
Yes.
Perfect. Now, this one, you can even see from the face. Look, oh, the return that you are getting on that machine R is 16 pesos, but the cost is 23 pesos. Are you not running at cost? You're running at loss though, because the cost is more than the return that you are getting. That's why it gives us 0.469. How we get it? Looking at this one, the cost is 23 pesos. At least the return is 25. So you're getting like 0.02 as return. That's why you're getting like more than 1. Good. So for product A and C, the return is what? For product A and C, the throughput accounting ratio is below 1, suggesting that the operating cost is worth more than or is higher than the returns or the throughput, and hence these two products are not profitable. Full stop. What about product B and C? B and D.
And D.
Yes, B and D. Adam Sandra, any idea? B and D. B and
I,
D.
dear, but I think they are profitable.
Yes, what make them profitable? That's what you are looking for. What make them profitable? That's the solution to the question. That's the solution to the interpretation. Something must make them profitable. What? That item. So tell us what suggests or what you saw that make them profitable. And that's the answer. Okay. Now for product B and D, the returns are more than the factory what cost or the operating cost, and hence making them what profitable. We are done. Now the last topic, and then we are done for the day. Wow. The last topic, and then we are done for the day. The last topic, and we are done for the day. Ways of increasing throughput. Ways of what? Increasing throughput accounting ratio. Because looking at these two products, A and C, something have to be done. Other than that, they have to cancel that product from the market. Now, if you are going to rank this one, they respond to the same ranking that we did in the first show. Like rank the throughput accounting ratio. D will score first, B will score second, C will score third, A will be last. It follows the same sequence. So what the ranking that we did under the throughput per limiting factor, the same ranking will occur here. So take note. Sometimes the examiner may require you to use this to set up the outcome production plan. So the last topic, let's see, ways of increasing throughput. Ways of what? Increasing throughput. So this one will occur when the throughput accounting ratio is less than 1. Assuming that the throughput accounting ratio that we have here, not even assuming, the two products, their throughput accounting ratio is less than 1. That's product A and then C. for example, but at A and C, the throughput account ratio is less than 1, right? So it means the management have to find a reasonable ways of what increasing it. Because you cannot be producing a product where the cost is 23 and the return is 16 pesos, 23 pesos and 16 pesos. You are losing over. So what do? Find ways and means that you can also increase what? The throughput. Now, one, what are the ways? The strategies. One, increase your selling price. Increase what?
Selling price.
Yes, your selling price. Because if you increase the selling price, what happens is it will increase the throughput. It will increase the throughput per limiting factor, right?
Yes.
And then it will improve the throughput accounting ratio. So increase the selling price. Increase the selling price. 2, what again? Reduce the operating cost. Find ways of reducing what? The operating cost. And then the material cost too must also be what? Reduced. Operating cost and then the material cost must be what? Reduced. How? 1. The next one is that one. It's linked to the second point. Ways of reducing the operating cost and what? Your material cost. For the cost must reduce. Because if you reduce your costs, how do you reduce your cost? 1, cut down non-value added activity. Any activity that you think will not add value, please take it off. This thing happens to some of the products. Sometimes you buy some product, you bring it into the house, some part of it is useless. You don't need that part. Meanwhile, they will cost it. For instance, kids products, toys. They will do something, assuming that this mobile phone that I'm holding here, they've done handle. One is here, one is here. And so that you can probably hang it somewhere. With that handle, the mobile phone can function properly. So take those handles from there so that the cost will come down. So that's why I'm saying that to increase throughput accounting ratio, reduce the non-value added. Any activity that is not adding value to the product, please stop. So that you don't cost it. Yes. Like this marker. This marker will be used just within an hour or maybe 3 hours for 1 day. And you are doing something to hold it, handle, as if something that you're going to use for a year. No, it's not added. So stop all the non-added value activity. 2, use a lot of what? Machines than what? Labor. How we get it? Include more machines than what? Labor. When you do that, you increase because it will reduce the operating cost. In the long run, you will gain. And then the third point, which is on its own, increase your capacity. Increase what? The capacity, operating capacity.
The third point under the ways.
Yeah, the third point under the ways. It's on its own. The third point under the ways. It's on its own. But the point that I mentioned, the 2 points that I mentioned, they all fall under what? The ways of what? Reducing the operating cost and the material cost. The third point under the ways of increasing the throughput accounting ratio. The third point is that increase what? The capacity, operating capacity. Increase what? The operating capacity. Now, if you can work for long, then sometimes some of your fixed costs will be absorbed. How we get it? Like let me give you a classical example. Have you seen the app that we are using, the Zoom app that we are using for our program? We've paid, let's say $15 every month. So whether you organize class a day or 2 days, still you pay for the $15. But if I'm able to organize class morning, evening, afternoon, done. Morning, evening, afternoon, done. That one, I will like Ganama will tell you that to better content. Exactly, like you won't lose. But if you don't do that, if you don't increase your capacity, your working capacity, and then always like you are limiting it down, it may happen that all the fixed costs might not be what absorbed. Yeah. So that is it. Now let me ask this question: what if after finding all reasonable means or all reasonable efforts, still the throughput cannot be what increased? After finding what all reasonable means, the throughput accounting ratio cannot be what increased. What do you do? For instance, these two products, A and C. A and C. What do you do?
Stop production.
Exactly. Stop producing them. Production must be ceased. If after finding all reasonable means, you cannot increase this throughput accounting ratio. Some of the products, in fact, the material price is fixed. You can't compare the material price. Some of the products, in fact, machine cannot do it. You need human being to come and do it. Some of the products, even if machine can do it, because that machine can't buy it. You can't increase your capacity. As soon as I want to do classes, every time, we get students morning, afternoon, dawn, like weekend, all the time, so that you make use of it. No. So if after all reasonable means and efforts, the throughput accounting ratio could not be what increased, then what do? Abandon the project. Stop producing that product. So it means that for this company, if all the steps they visualize it, but still they were not able to increase these two products, their throughput accounting ratio, what do? Stop producing it. Cancel them from the system. Shut them. Yeah. Here we are using just 4 products, sometimes 2 or 3 to represent, or when you go to the real, in reality, you get more than that. Take Univa for instance, they have a lot of products. A lot of products. Take Nestle, a lot of products. Take these people, Tobinco. Take this man, Despite, a lot of what products. So if you want to assess whether they should abandon some of the product, they can also fall on what throughput accounting ratio and then this. So that's the end of today's edition. But let me give my work or assignment. Holiday, I expect you're not meeting again until next week, right? Good. We are done with throughput, but we are not done with question solving. In principle base, whatever you need to solve throughput, I'm done. But what left is question solving. What you've done does not guarantee your pass or your exam questions. What you guarantee is what you're going to do next, like the question solving. So I'll project the handout that you have. In fact, all the questions, already question 1 given to you. So you are doing question, we did question 4, eh?
Yeah.
So you are doing question 5. Okay, you are doing question 5. For that question, the limiting factor has not been given. That's the only issue. So it means that the next time we meet, I think I'll talk about when the limiting factor is not given, how do you determine by yourself? And then that's the end of the game.
Okay.
So I think because of that, okay, you can try your hands on these questions because most of them, the limiting factor will not be given. So question 4, we've done question 4. Question 5. Question 5 and 6 are yours. Question 5 and 6. I know that question 5 is some way. Yeah, you try question 6 and your question 1. Question 6 and what?
1.
Question 1. Question 6 and question 1. Please, no story. Question 6 and what? Question 1. So Tuesday, I need them before Tuesday. So I'll take them on Sunday. Yes. So that we use that one to for your continuous assessment. Assessment ICA. Your continuous assessment. I have to give you better position, better grades. Yes. Yes. Because if you want, is it first class or second class?
First class.
If you want first class upper, dear, submit all your works. That's a sure way. If not, is it what they call it?
Pass, better pass.
Your GPS.
GPA.
GPS. Interesting.
Some people want to only pass. No,
Is it?
some people are not interested in the classes. They just want to pass and move on.
Gentle pass. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. So these
Not
are the
you,
works.
not me. I said some people.
Oh, okay. That's good. That's good. So that's the work, and then this is the end of today's section. Thank God for bringing us this far. Even though we started with many, but left with only 2 on the platform. Okay, so thank you very much for coming. Have a great day. The
Thank
rest
you.
of the day. Goodbye.
All right.